Hey guys, this is a little impromptu stream. I know you're usually watching nothing remotely controversial at this time. Sadly, Joshua couldn't join us tonight, so we had to cancel the show, but that is not stopping me from going live with an impromptu stream because I have some things to say. I'm just waiting for a moment for people to kind of file in. I know I just put this stream up a couple minutes ago. I hope you guys are having a good night. Go ahead, chat in. Let me know when you're ready. Um, I should start off by saying, for posterity, that I'm speaking for myself. I have not talked to anyone from the Walkaway campaign today. They do not know I'm going live. I have not vetted a dang thing I'm going to say with them, as I never do. Because I speak for myself. I do not speak for anyone else. I do not do anyone's bidding. I do not pass messages along. If I am saying something, it comes from me and only from me. But there are things I feel strongly about. And one of the things that I feel strongly about is Brandon Straka. And his sentencing is coming up in a couple of days. And this has been an incredibly stressful year for him. And because his sentencing is coming up, all of the vultures are coming out. Now, I frankly, and I think everyone frankly, expected the vultures on the left to come out because Brandon Straka is the most effective person in the country at getting Democrats to leave the Democratic Party. And so, of course, the left is going to come out and attack him. But I have to say, I'm a little surprised at what I see coming from conservatives. Although, to be honest, given the last year that I have had with conservatives and them attacking me and canceling me constantly, I suppose I shouldn't be. Now, if you are a conservative and you are watching and you haven't done any of those things, I am not talking about you. I do not know you. I do not know anyone. Well, I know a few people that are in the chat, but like I don't know you guys, so I'm not speaking to you directly. But I have some things to say because of all the ungratefulness that I have seen in this game in the last 2 years. This frankly takes the cake. Now, I personally think that Brandon and frankly Scott Presler were completely snubbed by the RNC last year. Brandon Straka and Scott Presler are two of the most effective activists that the right has working for them. And neither of them spoke at the RNC. And that should not have happened. And the reason it happened is because they're gay. And it doesn't matter what they do, and it doesn't matter how successful they are. Brandon, between the November 2020 election and the special election in Georgia that happened on January 5th of last year, Brandon moved to Georgia to campaign for the Senate Republicans. No one else did that. Scott Presler is constantly registering votes for the Republicans. Gets no appreciation at all. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised when things like this come up. Calling Brandon Straka a grifter. Because I've seen this popping up all over the place. Now, again, if you're just joining, I'm not speaking for Brandon. I'm only speaking for myself. I'm not speaking on behalf of the Walkaway campaign. I am only speaking for myself. Filipino White Boy says, what's going on? Why are people turning on Straka? He's a good guy. He is a good guy. Listen, let me tell you what. This is one of those streams where I'm probably going to be more honest than I should probably be on the internet, but I basically did a therapy session earlier on the internet today. And so maybe I'm in an honest mood. I have met a lot of fake people in the last 2 years. I've met many of your influencers. I've talked to them off camera. I've heard them speak to each other when no one is around listening to them. You all do, and by you all I mean conservatives, you all do have a lot of grifters among you. Brandon Straka is not one of those people. He is absolutely not. I traveled with the guy for 6 months doing rallies every single week. Walkaway was the only organization in 2020 that was actually going out in the world and campaigning and doing rallies on a consistent basis. You look at something like Blexit, like Candace Owens did one rally in 2020. And it was completely organized and coordinated at the White House, and they had to fly people in to go to it. They paid for people to come in to go to that rally at the White House. Where's all that Blexit money going? Where is all that sweet, sweet Blexit grifter cash going? It wasn't going to rallies. It wasn't going to activism. What has Blexit actually done? Brandon was out there every single week between the end of June in 2020 and Election Day. We went to Baltimore. We went to Los Angeles. We went to Chicago. We went to Phoenix. We went to Philadelphia. We went to Nashville. We went to Dallas. We went to Milwaukee. All over the dang place. Atlanta. Pittsburgh. Did an impromptu rally in Pittsburgh because Pennsylvania was looking very close. And so they scheduled an impromptu rally a couple days before the election day just to make sure there was a presence. The only organization that was out there doing anything. We didn't see anyone else. It was Walkaway and it was Scott Pressler, and that was it. That was it. He is one of the true people. Brandon does not stop working ever. And guess what? Even throughout 2021, after he got elected and was not elected, arrested, and he wasn't able to speak publicly for the entire year. His lawyers have not allowed him to speak publicly for the entire year. You guys have no idea what his team has been doing behind the scenes. I do. I've seen some of it. What the Walkaway team has been doing behind the scenes while Brandon has had to be quiet is nothing short of amazing. I'm not going to spill the beans on what they've been working on, but they have done more in the last year when they weren't able to do anything publicly than any conservative organization has done to rally a grassroots effort. They really have. They have done more than any other conservative organization, and that includes Turning Point USA, who only seems to be able to hold big events, but doesn't actually do any grassroots organizing. And they've done it all while they've had to operate quietly while this case plays out. Do you guys have any idea the hell that Brandon has been put through in the last year? And of all the people that should appreciate it, it should be the political right. It should be the conservatives, but they don't. They don't appreciate anything. Now, I am not talking about you as a person if you are listening in the chat and feeling personally offended. I'm talking about the people who are running around calling Brandon a grifter and talking about how he turned and is a Fed. That's who I'm talking about. That's who I'm talking about. And I've seen it because this is what you guys are going to say. You guys are going to say, this is not all conservatives, Carlin. Don't generalize. This is not the only site that I've seen do this. I've seen a lot do it. I have just reached my final breaking point. Because that's what I hear from conservatives all the time. Every time conservatives have really loud people that say really bad things, conservatives are like, don't generalize. That's not all of us. Well, I understand that it's not all of you, but the fact of the matter is that it is your loudest voices. It is your loudest voices. It is the people that you allow to lead for you. So if you aren't going to speak up And you are going to allow people like Bryson Gray and Brandon Tatum, actual grifters, if you are going to allow them to speak for you, then that's what you get. I am sorry. I am sorry they don't represent you. But that's what happens. We're going to read this article. I'm going to take a couple super chats. Naruto, I promise I'm putting that preview post for Effed Up News before I go to bed tonight. I promise. I just had a meeting. I had some other stuff I had to do. Naruto says, when the world is running towards a cliff, he who runs the other way appears to have lost his mind. A very apropos quote. We even have people in the chat right now saying, did Brandon cooperate with the feds? Brandon took a plea deal, dude. He took a plea deal to get his life back so he could actually get out there and start working again. Do you guys understand? That if Brandon hadn't taken a plea deal, this would have dragged on forever? Michael says, love them both, but as a gay conservative myself, do you really think that's why they weren't invited? Yes, I 100% think that's why they weren't invited. They had Rick Grinnell at the RNC, right? Rick Grinnell was the DNI. Rick Grinnell was in the cabinet. And did Rick Grinnell talk about being gay? No, Rick Grinnell never talks about being gay. He goes to the log cabin Republican stuff, and I don't really have any problem with Rick Grinnell at all. But he didn't talk about that. Actually, I think he purposefully didn't talk about that. I absolutely believe there is no, if it is not about, let's play with this for a second. You guys think this isn't about them being gay? What other possible reason could the GOP have for not inviting Brandon Straka and Scott Presler to speak at the RNC or even to attend the RNC? What other possible reason could they have? They are two of their strongest activists, the two of the only people who are actually out there in 2020 campaigning. If it's not about them being gay, what other reason is there? Why isn't Scott Presler on the GOP payroll? What other reason is there? Give me another reason. Give me any other plausible reason. We all know what it is. Jan wants to know, is Joshua okay? Joshua is fine. You don't have to worry. He'll be back next week. Let's read this article because this article is pretty representative of a lot of things that I've seen coming out of conservative media. And again, not in all media. But I've seen a lot of stuff pop up like this, and I've frankly had it. If you just joined, I'm speaking for myself and myself only. I have not vetted a dang thing I'm going to say with Walkaway or with Brandon. But I'm going to read this article and I'm going to give you my opinion on it. Walkaway campaign founder Brandon Straka offered house arrest after cooperating with the feds over January 6th. This is on Red Voice Media. First of all, Brandon was not offered house arrest. There was a sentencing recommendation that came from the prosecution. It was a sentencing recommendation memo that recommended that Brandon get house arrest. He was not offered house arrest. It was a sentencing recommendation that came from the prosecution. If you have questions about this, Libby Albert and Damien did a live stream on Brandon's Facebook page last week where they talked about this. Because what happened when that sentencing recommendation memo came out is journalists were so lazy that they didn't even read that it was a sentencing recommendation, and they reported that Brandon has actually been sentenced. Brandon's not going to be sentenced for 2 more days. But there was news all over the place saying Brandon Straka had been sentenced to house arrest and 3 years of probation. That didn't happen. That was a sentencing recommendation memo. So there's been no offer. This is not a plea offer. Brandon already pled guilty to a Class B misdemeanor. I don't recall if this article talks about this or not, but they charged him with a felony. He didn't even go in the Capitol. No one is even saying he went in the Capitol. They charged him with a felony. He pled guilty to a Class B misdemeanor, which any sentencing recommendation for 4 months of house arrest and 3 years of probation for a Class B misdemeanor is absurd. That is absurd. The very idea of it is absurd. Brandon's lawyer actually wrote, and actually it's on my Twitter. If you guys want to see it, hang on. Let me pull it up in a different window because I might accidentally show you something on my screen that I don't want to show you. I don't pull it up in a different window, but it is on my Twitter and you guys can read it yourself. Brandon's lawyer today responded. Actually, maybe we can even read this article too. Let's read this article first. Fuck it. Let's read the article that I think I will like first. And then we can move on to me yelling at conservatives for being raging idiots. If you take that as a personal offense, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people who are now saying that Brandon is a grifter when he has never been an effing grifter. But we're going to talk about that. But let's read this. This is from the Gateway Pundit. It came out today. Exclusive. Walkaway founder Brandon Straka's attorney releases a statement before the sentencing. Government pushed Brandon 3 times to turn on the Trump administration, which he did not do. That's a much better headline. That's a much more accurate headline to the current situation. You guys understand, right? Like, people get put in situations sometimes where the very best thing they can do is to plead guilty to have it over with, so he could have his life back. Do you know how much it has killed him for the last year not to be able to do his job in public? They've been working very hard behind the scenes. He works every day. Let's read this. Let's read this first. This will make me feel good. Brandon Straka, the founder and leader of the Walkaway movement, was arrested by federal agents following the January 6th protests and riot. Brandon did not go inside the Capitol, did not participate in any violence, did not encourage violence, did not plan any violence, yet the corrupt and politicized federal government charged him with 2 felonies and a misdemeanor. Brandon Straka was charged with crimes because Brandon Straka is extremely effective as a grassroots organizer. That is true. He is one of the most effective grassroots organizers that the right has, and they do not appreciate him. Brandon's story is amazing. After being a dedicated liberal for years and years, he started to do a little bit of investigating and decided he could no longer support the viciousness of the lefts. Today, over 600,000 Americans have joined Brandon and the Walkaway movement and have not looked back. Brandon Straka is the reason that I left the left. I don't think it would have happened without him. I don't think it would have happened without me seeing Walkaway town halls that they put on YouTube. When I was questioning what was going on with the Democratic Party, I saw Walkaway town halls and I heard people talking that were talking like me. I would not have left the left if it was not for Brandon Straka. Oh, Naruto! It finally happened to me. I was unsubscribed while watching your stream. Isn't that funny? Isn't it funny that YouTube likes to unsubscribe people from my channel literally every effing night? So guys, please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel if you would like to be. Just double check because YouTube may have just unsubscribed you live while you're watching my stream. Apparently. People have been asking me lately why I don't display the subscriber number on my channel anymore. I took it off. You want to know why? Because if YouTube is hell-bent on unsubscribing people from my channel every dang day, then there is no reason for me to even have the subscriber number. Because it's not real. It's not real. YouTube unsubscribes people from my channel literally every day. So if it's not real, why should I even worry about it in the first place? Anyway, that's a different topic. And that's why Brandon was targeted by the corrupt federal prosecutors for attending the rally on January 6th. Brandon is effective. He leads leftists to the light. And once they walk away, they don't go back. On Wednesday, October 6th, Walkaway founder Brandon Straka pled guilty to a Class B misdemeanor for the crime of disorderly conduct inside the U.S. Capitol grounds on January 6th. After Brandon's hearing, the demonic media portrayed this as a victory for their cause by proclaiming Brandon Straka pled guilty for his role in the insurrection. Brandon's sentencing is this Thursday. The Walkaway campaign is an authentic grassroots movement that has inspired and supported Democratic voters who walked away from the radical America-hating left. The campaign has The campaign has rescued many Americans from the Democrat plantation and brought them over to the Republican Party. Now, to make matters worse, a former federal prisoner and serial litigator, Jonathan Riches, is on record alleging Straka was caught on camera telling Trump supporters to take the officer's shield, which is total BS. If anyone has seen the video that Brandon recorded himself at the Capitol that day, the voices yelling to take the officer's shield were not Brandon's voice. They were not anything like Brandon's voice. If you listen to them with headphones on, you get an even better perspective because the voices telling to you them to take the officer's shield weren't even coming from the vicinity of Brandon's phone. Again, I traveled with the guy for 6 months. I would know his voice in a crowd. His voice is very distinctive. Wasn't his voice. I remember listening to that video. I remember laying in bed the day after Brandon got arrested, and I was like really depressed, and I was kind of worrying if I was going to be arrested too. And I found the video that he took online. And oh, look at this. These are good conservatives. You're such a frequent drama queen. I'm unsubbing your joke. Well, congratulations, dude. You just get your ass blocked. Enjoy your block, mother effer. Block. I'm not happy right now, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not yelling at any of you in the chat unless you're being dicks like that guy I just blocked. But like, this really pisses me off. It really pisses me off. Filipino white boy just donated $10 to the Walkaway website. I've been a fan of Brandon for a long time, and this is ridiculous. I'm sure Walkaway thanks you for that donation, Filipino white boy. So where was I? I was talking about how, so the day after Brandon got arrested, I was laying in bed and I was like a little scared I was going to be arrested too. And I found the video of like his live stream, and because I wanted to see for myself. I was like, because listen, like I know Brandon well enough to know that he would probably martyr himself for this cause. I think he actually probably would martyr himself. So I really wondered. There was part of me. Brandon had told me, we actually talked on the phone the night of January 6th, and he had told me he didn't go in the building. And I believed him. Like there was no reason for me not to believe him. But there was a little voice in the back of my head after he got arrested. I was like, did he go in the building? Like, what the hell happened? Did things get out of hand? Because like I could actually understand that. So there was like part of me that was like, he didn't do it, but like, did he? And I feel a little embarrassed about that, to be really honest with you, because I listened to that video. That I didn't watch it at first. The first pass on that video that the one that Brandon took at the Capitol, I had my eyes closed and I was just listening to it because I knew that I was going to hear certain things be yelled out and I just wanted to hear them. And so when I heard the person yelling, take their shield, my eyes jolted open and I was like, that's not Brandon's voice. I knew immediately that wasn't Brandon's voice. And it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even, maybe it could have been, maybe not. No. It wasn't Brandon's voice. I will never change my tune on that. That was not him. Anyway, so this jackass, Jonathan, says Brandon Straka was caught on camera telling Trump supporters to take the officer's shield, which is total BS. Straka to me is Antifa. Antifa. Brandon would never engage in violence. He would never do that. Then speak up for him, Michelle. Then speak up for him. Stop whining in my chat and go tell the conservatives that are lying about him to stop. This is one of the things I don't like about conservatives. Is you would rather attack someone like me who is trying to tell the truth than attack the people in your own ranks that are causing this nonsense. And I'm sure Michelle's going to go on Twitter and be like, Carlin's a leftist. She yelled at me in the chat. Go yell at the conservatives that are lying about him. Go do that. Until then, don't tell me what to say. Who is Jonathan Riches? In October 2013, Prison Legal News, Jonathan, 36, bills himself as the most litigious person alive. He's claimed that the Guinness Book of World Records wanted to list him as having filed the most lawsuits. He sued Guinness in response, arguing that they had miscounted the number of legal actions. Riches, who has reportedly filed pleadings in over 3,000 federal cases in courts across the nation, claims that he has filed more than 4,500. So basically, this guy, this jackass, who has sued people all over the place, is running around calling Brandon Antifa and getting people all riled up. I was getting messages about this guy, and I was like, he is a loser in Florida that no one should be listening to, but apparently a lot of conservatives do. I don't recall Dave Rubin being invited to the RNC either. If you don't think it's because they're gay, then give me one good reason why Brandon Straka and Scott Pressler did not speak at the RNC. Give me another explanation. What other explanation is there? I'm deadly serious. What other explanation is there? The matter with, okay, this is about the lawsuit guy. It is unknown why Riches is now attacking Straka, alleging he is Antifa, but can we really trust this guy? No, you cannot. And anyone who thinks that you can trust this guy, I'm sorry, is not a very smart person. I like that this guy can barely speak proper English. I ended up blocking him on Twitter because he started shit-talking me too. And he's just like, he's ridiculous. He's one of these ridiculous conservatives that make all conservatives look ridiculous. But then no conservatives actually call him on his shit because they're like, oh, that's not nice. We don't like conflict. And he represents all of you. According to Sun Northport, Riches has repeatedly been entangled in historic events, blah, blah, blah. Anyway. Brandon Straka's sentencing is Thursday morning. I hope that everyone here will be praying for Brandon and praying that the judge does the right thing. I hope that everyone is praying for Brandon and that the judge does the right thing. The government has prevented this highly successful conservative activist from speaking out or continuing his work for over a year now. This is the same tactic they used with Roger Stone and others. The federal government wasted millions harassing and abusing Brandon Straka and others. That is true. The government has postponed this sentencing, I think, twice now? I don't even know. Brandon was supposed to be sentenced a while ago. And they keep postponing it just to keep him quiet. The reason the government keeps doing this is to... Let me spell this out for you guys. The reason the government keeps postponing the sentencing is because every time they postpone the sentencing, they leak a memo to the press saying Brandon is cooperating with us. And anytime the government leaks a memo to the press saying Brandon is cooperating with us, the press writes about it. And then conservatives go, can we really trust this Brandon Straka grifter? They're playing you. They're playing you. They know what they're doing. The federal government has wasted millions harassing and abusing Brandon Straka and others. If this is the future of the country, then this great nation is lost. Please pray for Brandon. And then they bring in the Red Voice Media, which is this Riches guy is apparently the center of this article that we're going to talk about. We heard back from Red Voice Media, and they stand by their original reporting. Oh, really, Red Voice Media? I've got a thing or two to say about you. The author, Greg Hoyt, is aware of Mr. Rich's past and some of his funny lawsuits he's drafted in the past. Hoyt also stated that Rich's criminal background of fraud is not an issue because he has a criminal background and not provide details. Oh, okay. So the author of this article that we're going to read, smearing Brandon, this guy is also a criminal. Two can play at this game, Greg. Let's read what Red Voice Media decided to smear Brandon with, and then we can debunk anything they have to say. And guys, if you are one of the people in the chat that's like, Carlin, you always label conservatives the same. All right, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to put this link in the chat right now. I want every single one of you to go to the comments section of this website and leave a comment letting them know what you think about them smearing Brandon. Look, they got a robust comment section. Lots of people commenting. Speak up. If you think I'm wrong about you, then go speak up. Go leave a comment. I'm not even asking you to do it under your real name. Go say something. Go fill that article's comments section with comments that are supporting Brandon and tell them to F off for their shitty reporting. Enlightened One, I'm going to expect you to go over to that article right now and leave a comment supporting Brandon. I'm going to expect you to share this article all over your social media saying these people are liars and they should be condemned. I'm going to expect you to say, why wasn't Brandon Straka and Scott Presler invited to the RNC, and what are the GOP prepared to do about that, considering Scott Presler's been busting his ass for the last year? But you guys like to attack the messenger. I have no sympathy any longer. I am no longer playing this game. You guys love to attack the messenger. You don't like to actually clean up your own house. And that's why things are the way they are. This is why you have so many grifters in your midst. This is why you have so many people who take advantage of you, because you don't clean up your own house. This is what Red Voice Media had to say in their article smearing Brandon. Brandon Straka, the 45-year-old founder of the Walkaway campaign, which was formed in 2018, was a means to urge Democrats to vote Republican, is reportedly getting a sentencing recommendation of 4 months house arrest with probation regarding his exploits on January 6th. That's true. The sentencing recommendation did say that. This is a relatively light sentence. No, it's not. Anyone who thinks that 4 months of house arrest and 3 years of probation is a light sentence for a Class B misdemeanor is a fucking moron. And since we know, based on the reporting of Gateway Pundit, since we know that Greg, the author of this article that we're reading, has a criminal background himself, because he told the Gateway Pundit that, we know that Greg, the author of this article, should damn well know better. Four months of house arrest and 3 years of probation is not a light sentence for a Class B misdemeanor. This relatively light sentence comes after reports circulated in December 2021 that Straka was cooperating with investigators in a manner that could impact the government's sentencing recommendation. Where that came from was the memo that the government leaked to the media, or sent the media. I don't know if they leaked it. They sent the memo basically saying, Brandon Straka is cooperating with us and we're postponing sentencing because of it. The government did that so that outlets like this would smear him. So congratulations, Red Voice Media and Greg. You played right into their hands. You did exactly what they wanted you to do. On January 13th, federal prosecutors filed their sentencing recommendation for Strzok for his exploits while at the Capitol on January 6th of 2020, which recommended 4 months of house arrest, 3 years of probation, and 60 hours of community service alongside $500 restitution for a Class B misdemeanor. Clean up your own fucking house. This is what conservatives do all the time. This is why I have no patience for conservatives anymore. I will highlight every single person I see in the chat saying, "Don't be divisive, Carlin. Don't attack conservatives. Clean up your own fucking house." I don't take responsibility for you guys anymore. Sorry. I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking on behalf of Brandon. I'm not speaking on behalf of the Walkaway campaign. Clean up your own fucking house. And if many conservatives love Brandon, then they should be supporting him right now, not talking shit about him like I've seen constantly. Do not attack the messenger when your side is the one causing this. I would be very happy to not be doing this stream right now. I would be very happy to not be reading this article. This should not exist. You are attacking someone who has been one of the greatest assets that your side has. And I don't care if it's you in particular. Because if you haven't done anything to stop it, if you haven't spoken out in support of him, if you haven't left comments saying this is bullshit, take this article off your website, if you haven't done anything to push back against your tribe, then don't come to me and tell me to stop talking about it. This is your dirty laundry to clean, man. I'm not a conservative. I've never been a conservative. And yet I spent the entirety of 2020 fighting for you guys, putting my own beliefs and my own life to the back burner. Do you guys think that I had nothing better to do every single weekend between June and November in 2020 besides traveling around doing rallies for you that most of the time you didn't even come to because you had to mow the lawn? And then you attack me for all of 2021 and you attack my friend who has been one of the strongest activists that you guys have? But we're the ones that are supposed to shut up about it. This is your house. Back in October 2021, Strzok pleaded guilty to 40 USC blah, 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 which is a Class B misdemeanor, which could see a penalty of up to 6 months in federal prison. Have you left a comment on the article yet? Have you pushed back on your own house yet? Don't attack me. I'm not taking this shit from you guys anymore. You do this every time. You do this every time. This is why people don't fight for you. You know, I never understood. I never understood before the year of 2021 that I never understood why people didn't come to the aid of conservatives. This just didn't make any sense to me when I first left the left. When I first left the left in February of 2020, after going to that Trump rally, I was like, conservatives are really nice people. They're great. Why doesn't anyone stand up for them? Why is Trump the only person standing up for them? Now I know. Now I know flat out why people don't stand up for you guys, because you don't make it easy. I wanted to be on your team. But all I get all the time, literally all the effing time from conservatives is complaining. It has been for the last 2 years. And I put up with it in 2020 because there was an election to win and there were larger goals. But since then, it's been constant whining and complaining. Carlin, why aren't you saying the things we want you to say? Carlin, why aren't you doing our talking points? I've had it. I don't want to hear any more excuses. This is your house. Clean up your own house. Don't come and complain to me on this channel until you clean up your own house. However, the original charges that Strzok was facing could have seen him doing up to 10 years in prison. So you're telling me that the government charged him with something that could have put him in prison for 10 years, but minimally would have dragged out for years, and conservatives are unhappy that he took a plea deal? But since Strzok has managed to secure a plea deal for federal equivalent of disorderly conduct, he's clearly not looking at a decade in prison. No, he's not. He's not looking at a decade in federal prison because he was smart. But more importantly, and again, I'm only speaking for myself here, but this halted Brandon's life for a year. For a year. Of course, he took a plea deal. Of course, he took a plea. Any single person who was in his position would have done exactly the same thing. Lisa says, I went to the walkaway rally in Phoenix. I was at you know who else was at that walkaway rally in Phoenix, Lisa? Do you remember who else was there? That rally was rad. That was a great rally. Do you remember do you guys know who else was at the walkaway rally in Phoenix? The guy with the Viking hat from January 6th. He was also there. That's how I knew he was actually conservative. Then unsubscribe. I can block you too, dude. Any new rule, any conservative complainers in my chat are going to get blocked. You don't have to be here. But however, Strzok has managed to avoid any jail time, getting the equivalent of a slap on the wrist with house arrest. Well, to be honest, I'm going to be pissed if Brandon gets house arrest. That is ridiculous. Brandon has managed to avoid any jail time, getting the equivalent of a slap on the wrist with house arrest, which house arrest in most cases is really just an iteration of intense probation, since it is subjected to, it can carry a lot of time for work and shopping and groceries and other pre-approved activities. So is conservative media, is this website actually advocating for Brandon to have jail time? Why is an allegedly conservative website advocating for anyone on January 6th to have jail time? Why is this allegedly conservative website advocating for Brandon Straka to get a harsher punishment? That's the question we should be asking. Yet the leniency on Strzok tends to make a lot more sense when reviewing a December 17th filing by federal prosecutors that sought an extension to his sentencing that was originally scheduled for December 22nd and then pushed it to January 20th. Again, this is the government playing you. This is the government playing you to get you guys, being conservatives, I know not everyone in the chat is conservative right now, to turn on one of the most effective activists that you have. On December 8th, the defendant provided counsel for the government with information that may impact the government's sentencing recommendation. Additionally, the government is requesting additional time to investigate information provided in the final pre-sentence report. Guys, if you have questions about what this memo says, I strongly advise you to go back to the Gateway Pundit, and what I want you to read is the full letter from Brandon's attorney that they have on their site. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's 14 pages long. But this is Brandon's attorney's statement. It lays out clearly what Brandon has done and what he has not done. And if people have questions, we can scroll right back up to the top of this article. Brandon did not go inside the Capitol, did not participate in any violence, did not encourage violence, did not plan any violence, yet the corrupt and politicized federal government charged him with 2 felonies and a misdemeanor. But I strongly encourage anyone that has questions about what Brandon did or did not do in regards to the government to read his attorney's statement that came out today. Maybe we will read it. Who knows? Maybe we will. Actually, no, we're not going to. It's 10:30 at night. My voice is already going. But you guys can read it. You have eyes. You can read it. For those who aren't hip to the legalese of court filings, this filing noted that Strzok was funneling information to investigators so much so that they needed an extra 30 days to extract and digest the information because you got played by the government. That's what they wanted you to think. You got played by the government. That is what they wanted you to think, so you would turn on one of your most effective organizers in the effing country. We at Red Voice Media spoke with political activist and investigative journalist Jonathan Riches. Jonathan Riches is a fucking moron. For his take on the Strzok case and reached sentencing agreement. And Riches says that Strzok was suspicious from the start when he magically went from liberal to MAGA conservative out of nowhere in 2018. I mean, they say Antifa infiltrated the Capitol. Strzok is Antifa to me, weaseled his way into the MAGA movement and was caught on camera telling Trump supporters to take the officer's shield. This is coming from conservatives. You guys want to know why I'm pissed? You guys want to know why I'm pissed at conservatives for not cleaning up their own house? Because I've watched this crap happen for the last year towards Brandon. And I haven't said boo about much of any of it. Because conservatives don't like me to generalize. So I'm not allowed to say anything. I'm done. I'm done. Riches pointed to the plea agreement filed in October that was signed by Strzok, which allowed federal investigators to pour through all of Strzok's social media while he cooperated with investigators throughout the process. He gave the feds a treasure trove of info on other Trump supporters. Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, this guy has no idea. The guy that this article is quoting has absolutely no idea. No idea what happened. So I'm not even going to read his quote. I'm not even going to read it. Well, it's speculative that Strzok is a grifter within the realm of the conservative movement amidst the Trump era. It's more than confirmed that he cooperated with federal authorities in exchange for a more lenient sentence. Actually, Greg, proven criminal, I think Brandon and his entire team were pretty pissed by the sentencing recommendation. They were not expecting it to be 4 months of house arrest and 3 years of probation, which is just an excuse for the government to continue to harass Brandon for the entire rest of that freaking probation. If you watch the stream that Libby Albert and Damien did last week regarding the sentencing recommendation, you can see that they're both pretty pissed. No one thinks this is a lenient sentencing recommendation. This was not something that was negotiated. They were pissed. We are all very hopeful that Brandon's sentencing will not be anywhere close to what was recommended by the prosecutors. But to say this was a lenient sentence for a Class B misdemeanor, ridiculous. Goddamn ridiculous. So, if you are just joining, I have been ranting about how badly conservatives have treated my friend, Brandon Straka. Not all conservatives, I will acknowledge that, but a lot of them. Enough where I'm really pissed about it. Enough where I'm really pissed. This is not the first article I've seen like this. This is not the first instance I've seen like this. There is absolutely no reason for this. Thank you, Gateway Pundit, for actually doing, something. I mean, obviously they're a biased organization, so I'm not going to say they did journalism. I don't think they did journalism at all. But at least they told the truth. Look at the headline. Walkaway founder Brandon Straka's attorney releases statement before sentencing. Government pushed Brandon 3 times to turn on the Trump administration, which he did not do. That's the truth. I wanted to help the Republicans and the conservatives to be better. I wanted to actually work for you guys. I wanted to help you learn how to defeat the left. I wanted to bring many more Democrats out of the Democratic Party. But you know who made that impossible for me? Conservatives made it impossible. Republicans made it impossible. At every turn, I was only a member of the Republican Party for about 15 minutes because it was so impossible. This is your party. I wanted to try to make change to solidify a MAGA populist movement, not because it was necessarily ideal for me with my views, because I am and always have been much more libertarian in my views, even throughout 2020 when I was an independent, much more people were telling me all the time, Carlin, you're a libertarian, you're a libertarian, you're a libertarian. Well, yes, we now know that that's true. But the reason I didn't join the Libertarian Party in 2020 was because I thought the Libertarian Party sucked. And I thought, at least there is some hope in the Republicans. They're going through a transition. Maybe we can solidify a populist movement. It's not perfect. They believe a lot of things I don't. But I was willing. And I was told emphatically over and over and over again that I was not wanted. In clear terms, I was not wanted. I don't like being places I'm not wanted, so I left. Because there was just no appreciation. There was no gratitude. There was constant excuses, constant whining about why stuff couldn't get done, but then no solutions. And when the right wins the midterms in 2022, they're going to think it's indicative of how amazing they are and how many people agree with them. But what they don't understand is it's just people voting against the left. They're not voting for you, they are voting against the left. And it's because of crap like this, man. And it is not just the people running the GOP. The reason that they are allowed to run the GOP like this is because their voters allow them to. Is because you're more willing to complain about me saying mean things about you and using a tone you don't like than you are willing to clean up your own house. Every single death threat that I have received since I started this 2 years, every single death threat I have ever received has come from the right. Every single one. I have never received a death threat from a leftist. Leftists tried to get my work contracts canceled, and they were successful in some of those instances. But I've never received threats of violence from the left. I've only received threats of violence from the right. I have been told repeatedly. I was told by the Republican Senate nominee in Delaware, Lauren Witzke, to get the F out of the Republican Party. That's your Senate nominee. That's a person you voted for. She wanted my husband deported and told me to get the F out of the Republican Party. She's not the only one. I was told in no uncertain terms that my help was not welcome. And so I left and I became a libertarian. Because they wanted my help. I aligned more with them anyway. My vote actually matters. And I get asked all the time, Carlin, why don't you vote for the GOP? Why don't you vote for the GOP? The libertarians are never going to win. Why don't you vote with us? Because you haven't earned it. You haven't earned it. If they're taking your comment down on that site, go tweet it out. Go share it. Go post on their Facebook page. Jacob says they're taking the comments down. Okay. Go tweet at them. Say Red Voice Media, what the holy hell are you doing listening to this lunatic who is obviously lying? You guys have people. Real Nick Miles, walk away. Also, you are probably Brandon's favorite. Well, Brandon probably has different favorites on different days. Tell Brandon to get me that quote he promised me, Nick. Thank you for the super chat. I do not know any other way to express how frustrating this is to me. Brandon got over 500,000 people to leave the Democratic Party. What have the Republicans done to keep them? Nothing. I have been told repeatedly over the last year that I am not wanted, that people like me are not wanted. And now I'm watching the right turn into a carbon copy of the left. I'm watching the right engage in cancel culture. I'm watching the right turn on people like Brandon, not the gateway pundit, but a lot of people have. How many of your big name influencers have supported Brandon? Not many. These are people that are lifted up, put on pedestals. They can do no wrong. Try insulting a conservative influencer sometime who's not doing the right thing. Watch what happens. Now, if you don't like the things I'm saying and you're a Republican or you're a conservative, I am sorry. You have absolutely no idea how much I would like things to be different. You have absolutely no idea how much I would like to erase my entire experience with the political right for all of 2021. I regret ever supporting the right after the way they've treated me. I regret ever supporting the right after the way they've treated my friends. People that have worked so hard for you. And there's just no support. There is none. It is impossible. Buy this book because if you don't, Nick will visit you. Nick, I'm going to put that on a flyer. I'm going to find that picture of you and I in, where the hell were we? Pittsburgh? I'm going to put that on a promo. Hang on. I'm taking a screenshot of this so I remember later. I'm putting that on a promo, Nick. It's coming out tomorrow. Congratulations. Thank you for the super chat. And listen, I have been trying to articulate this to the right for the last year. I have been trying to articulate this to the right for the last year, what you guys are doing, how you guys are turning off people who left the left to support you. And every single time, do you know what I hear? Carlin, stop generalizing. That's not everyone. It's enough. It's enough to the point where I do not plan on right this second ever voting for a Republican again. That's how bad it was. That's how bad the last year has been for me. I put my entire goddamn life, my business, something I had worked for 10 years to build, on hold to support you guys in 2020. And then you ripped my life apart in 2021. And I could live with that if I weren't seeing you do the same thing to my friends who have supported you way more than I did. If you feel like I'm being unfair to your side, then you need to look at your own side and ask why. Why would you do this to people who want to support you? Why would you purposefully tell them to get the F out of your party? Why would you threaten their family? Why would you threaten their lives? Do you guys have any idea how many conversations I've had to have with my local police over death threats I've gotten from the right? John Clark says, F it, time to remind Trump who it was that worked hard for him. The ultimate fighter to the establishment is to appoint Brandon Straka party chairman. Just a thought. I think it should be Scott Pressler. I think it should be Scott Pressler. Scott Pressler has registered more Republican voters than any other person on this planet. The GOP should be kissing Scott Pressler's ass every day. But they don't. They give money to establishment people that just screw things up over and over and over again. Do you guys have any idea how much money the RNC has wasted on establishment people who don't do shit? You know, people for some reason have been asking me lately if Scott Pressler is the real deal. Yes. Scott Pressler is absolutely the real deal. Just like Brandon Straka is absolutely the real deal. I'm still waiting to know what the Blexit has done. Why conservatives are giving so much money to Candace Owens. Why are they lifting up Candace Owens? I don't know. I have no idea. Do you guys know? And Shamika Michelle would be a perfect person to explain this. You guys know that, like, people in the black community don't even like Candace Owens, and yet she is propped up everywhere. But she's got her own show on the Daily Wire and, you know, all that stuff. So we have to support her. You should be supporting Shamika. Shamika is amazing. And I think I think conservatives actually are finally getting their heads on straight, and it seems like Shamika is getting more exposure. She is amazing. If you guys do not embrace Shamika Michelle, I have no words. So that's my rant. It's almost 11 o'clock at night. Nick H., this is why I don't support any political groups. I hear you. Alex S., we have to protect our generals and lieutenants in this culture war. Guys, if you don't stand up for people that are fighting for you, then don't expect them to stand up for you anymore. I just don't know what other way to say this. This is one of those things where it sounds like I'm angry at you, and I am, but it's because I want you to be better. It's because I want you to be better. But you have to make that choice. No one can make that choice for you except for yourself. You know, when I left the Republicans to join the Libertarians, people are like, Carlin, you won't last there. Do you know how much fuckery there is in the Libertarian Party? And it's true. There is a lot of fuckery within the Libertarian Party. The Libertarians are real messed up. They are incredibly dysfunctional. They are possibly more dysfunctional than the RNC. But I'm staying. I would rather be a libertarian and lose every single election for the rest of my life than go back to the GOP in the state that it is currently in. Because there is no excuse for this. There is simply no excuse. I understand that the last year has been hard for a lot of people. I understand that we are all disappointed at who is in the White House right now. I understand all of that. But you guys have the money and the resources and the infrastructure to actually make a dent, and you are not doing it. When you win in the midterms, it will be by default. It will not be because you earned it. It will be because people hate Biden and hate the left. You've got to start doing better. There is no reason for me to vote for you. And see, this is an example of a person who's about to get blocked. Carlin's being a rhino now. I'm not a Republican. I will never be a Republican. So therefore, I can't be a rhino. Goodbye. Block. Brandon Russell, this is why I support you, Carlin, Strzok, Pressler directly. Stupid crap like this. Which influencer attacked you? Oh, dude. Which influencer hasn't attacked me? Which influencer hasn't attacked me? Brandon Tatum lied about me on his channel to 1.5 million followers. Cassandra Fairbanks has sent her mob after me countless times. Ian Miles Chung has lied about me countless times. Countless times. Ian Miles Chung commented on my mental health in Newsweek, even though he's a Malaysian Twitter troll with no mental health background. Lauren Witzke wanted to deport my husband. I could go on and on and on and on and on. Matt Walsh stole my fucking idea and passed it off as his so he could go on Tucker Carlson. I could go on and on and on and on and on about many conservative influencers I have had run-ins with. This is why I don't do media anymore. Let me tell you about the time. Let me tell you about the time I was on Fox News for breaking the Coke Be Less White story, and I was really proud of that, and I was really happy with it. And then a conservative, I know it was a conservative, clipped me out of context to make me look like I was an SJW that supported anti-racist math, because they asked me about anti-racist math on the show, and I had to explain what it was. And then they clipped me out of context to make me look like I was an SJW that supported anti-racist math. That clip has gone viral on like 3 different platforms all last year. I cannot tell you, I have gotten hundreds, if not even into the thousands, of messages from people harassing me over that clip. That was made by a conservative. That clip shows up all the time. Took one of the biggest moments of my career. And then Brandon Tatum broadcast that clip to his 1.5 million followers and told them that my parents deserve to be in jail for how they raised me. And then he issued an apology where he said, well, can you really blame me? Do you see her hair? That was Brandon Tatum's apology. And then when I said that's not an apology, you know what happened? All of Brandon Tatum's fans were like, how dare you not accept Brandon Tatum's apology? And I was like, because Brandon Tatum didn't fucking apologize. Brandon Tatum said, can you really blame me for saying that her parents are horrible people that deserve to be in jail? Look at her hair. He said that. Yes. Enlightened One, you're going to get blocked now. Goodbye. Enough warnings. Enough warnings. I'm done. No more fucking whiners in my chat. Well, Lauren is a criminal. That makes sense. Lauren Witzke is a criminal and a drug mule. And an actual white identitarian. She's been on actual white identitarian media, and she loves them. She goes, Lauren Witzke, Republican nominee for Senate in Delaware, goes on actual white identitarian channels talking about how much she loves their audience. I've had it, guys. I am done. It is so frustrating. It is so frustrating. I cannot even begin to tell you. When you try to do stuff and you try to make a difference, like this, do you guys know? So I talk to a lot of we're just going to talk now. We're just going to talk. I'm going to leave this on the screen so that people are reminded with the headline that the government pushed Brandon Straka 3 times to turn on the Trump administration and he didn't do it. So I'm just going to leave that up on the screen. We're just going to have a chat. Do you guys understand that I talk with many of the whistleblowers who come out against critical race theory? Like, we all talk. And do you know how many of them are on the verge of quitting because of how hard it is? Because of how little support they get? These are people who dedicate their life, who give up their jobs, who give up their friends, who give up their family to speak out when they know they're going to get canceled, when they know there will be consequences for them speaking out to talk about what's going on in the schools, to talk about what's going on in their organizations. And they sacrifice all of it to speak out for you guys so that we can identify what's going on so that we can push back in a meaningful way. Do you know how many of them have said to me recently that they are on the verge of quitting? Because it's too hard and they have no support and they have no help and they see people lifting up these bullshit conservative grifters. And they see all the help and support that they get. But the real people, the people that have sacrificed everything to fight back, can't get help and they can't get support. And I'm probably in one of the more advantageous positions if we're honest. I have my channel that grew pretty quickly. That grew to a point where, like, I can't pay, like, you guys think I'm making bank off this channel? I'm not. If I was relying just on this YouTube channel, I would not be able to be successful. Thank God I have my locals. My locals keeps me afloat. I'm still able to do organizational psychology in the background. I can't do trainings anymore. I can't do keynotes because I'll get canceled. Because I sacrificed that. I sacrificed the most lucrative parts of my effing business to fight back for you guys. But I can still do stuff behind the scenes that keeps me afloat. I'm in one of the most advantageous positions of any of the people I know in this game. Most of the whistleblowers don't have that. And so many of them are on the verge of quitting right now because all they want is a little bit of support, a little bit of help, and they can't get it. But Matt Walsh can raise $100,000 in a day to pull a prank on AOC. And that is deemed more important than supporting real people who are actually out there busting their asses every single day. Brian says, it's a shame the way conservatives are treating Brandon, but it's expected. I honestly believe they never liked him simply because he's gay. His plea was their excuse to turn on him. Brian, I 100% believe that you are correct. And why conservatives are even still worried about the gay stuff? I mean, my God. My God. I'm sorry, guys. You're not winning that fight. That ship has sailed. Brandon, how can we help them? Support them. Support them. Support them financially if you can. But even if you can't support them financially, and I think a lot of them can understand that, support them in other ways. Send them encouragement. If they're traveling to your area, take them out to dinner, buy them a drink, say thank you. I can't tell you how much of a difference a thank you makes. Or people saying, like, we appreciate what you did. Do you understand, guys, that most of the time people who are public on the internet doing this stuff, they hear more hate than anything else? I get told all day, every day that I'm a fat dyke, have my face put on pictures of cows and pigs. So sometimes a thank you's nice. A lot of people who are pushing back and fighting back against this stuff, none of us ever envisioned doing this. This was let me break it down for you guys. This was not part of my life plan. I had a successful business. I still do in some respects. I can't do the things I used to do. I literally when my freaking article went viral and I started doing this stuff and I started touring with Walkaway, I was making my money doing keynote speeches. I can't do that anymore. I was making my money mostly doing keynote speeches and consulting. I can't do either of those things anymore. Again, I can do other things and I do other things. I have to build a flipping employee engagement survey tomorrow, but I sacrificed to do this. Whistleblowers sacrificed to do this. Megan Cox says, please don't leave. We need your voice. We support you." Well, I really do appreciate that, and I'm not going anywhere. I have a book coming out in April. Guys, if you want to support me, hey, let me grift a little bit. Let me grift. Hang on. Let me put it in another browser. If you want to support me, one of the very best things you can do right now is go get my book. It's on Amazon right now. Let me put the link in the chat. You can pre-order the book on Amazon. If you don't want to go to Amazon, you can get it on non-Amazon stuff too. It's filled with case studies of these amazing whistleblowers that have sacrificed so much for all of you. I've got Jody Shaw's case in it. I've got Gabrielle Clark's case in it. I've got Chris Rufo's work in it. There's a whole chapter dedicated to James Lindsay. If you guys want to support me right now, go get a copy of my book. That would be great. Emphasize, my daughter said that she is mad about little boys dressing up as little girls and mashing the boys' love instead of her. Well, it happens. Brandon, whose and what's their GoFundMe? Well, you could support Gabrielle Clark. Let me get Gabrielle Clark's website up. I have to remember Gabrielle Clark's website. I think it's Support the Clarks. So this is Gabrielle Clark. She's the mom that filed the first lawsuit ever in the country for critical race theory in education. Her son, William, who is biracial, he's not white. Her son was forced to say he was an oppressor in order to graduate high school. It is one of the strongest cases that exists against critical race theory in this country. I raised her about $33,000 on Twitter just through pure goddamn willpower. I've donated thousands of dollars to her out of my own money because this case is important. It's givesendgo.com/support the Clarks. You know what's funny and why I bring this up is, again, when I helped raise her, I won't say I raised all of it because a lot of people helped. When I helped raise her over $30,000 in a couple days on Twitter, that was the same week that Matt Walsh raised over $100,000 to prank AOC. And the reason that I was pushing so hard to raise her money was because her case is actually important. Hers is actually important. Pranking AOC is not important. Pranking AOC is not a win. Her case could be a precedent-setting Supreme Court case. A judge has already said they have a very strong likelihood of winning. She can't raise $100,000. She can't get any blue check conservatives to support her. We tried. We tried. When I was trying to raise her money, we were treating it all the blue checks, saying, why aren't you supporting her? Why, when the Daily Wire, when all of the blue check conservatives at the Daily Wire, to include Ben Shapiro, to include Candace Owens, to include Matt effing Walsh, were pranking AOC and pledging their own money to prank AOC, we were tweeting at all of them going, why don't you support something real? Because they all knew they were going to get that money back. Because they knew that that GoFundMe that they were raising to prank AOC's grandmother wasn't going to go anywhere. The money wasn't going to be accepted. Did any of those blue check conservatives actually donate to something real? No. Did any of those blue check conservatives use their platform to support a precedent-setting case behind critical race theory? No. Has the Daily Wire profited off of Gabrielle Clark's case? Yes. They've profited by covering it. But they can't support it. And their audience are more interested in pranking AOC than they are in supporting a precedent-setting Supreme Court case. Do you guys get why this is so hard? And I understand not everyone can give, and that's perfectly reasonable. If you are not in a position to financially give, that is perfectly reasonable. But what is not reasonable to me is when you're donating money to the Daily fucking Wire to prank AOC's grandmother, but you can't donate money to something real. You'll get your lulls. But you can't donate to something real. This is why you're losing the culture war. Now, if Gabrielle Clark was a little blonde thing, I'm sure it would be different. I'm sure conservatives would have opened their wallets. I appreciate everyone who's ordering my book in the chat. I truly didn't want, like, that wasn't the plan for this. I wasn't planning on guilting you guys all into ordering my book. That wasn't the idea. I just wanted to yell because I was so pissed at what's happening to Brandon. Yeah, for some reason, I do have a lot of gays in my community. I attract gay men. I don't know why, because I basically look like a lesbian, and I understand that I'm not a lesbian in any way, but I give that vibe. I understand it. So I don't really understand why I attract so many gay men into my life, but I enjoy it and appreciate it. Thank God. Someone has to show me how to dress. But this is the point, guys. There are a lot of people that are working very, very hard for you, and it is important. It is incredibly important that you understand the people who are working hard for you. Let's pull up. Let me pull up something. Hang on. I don't know if it's on his website. I'm looking for something on Brandon's website. I want to make sure I have it up before I show it on the screen. Okay, found it. So this is Brandon's website. If you want to help him out, I think probably the best way that you could help him out is go to his store. Go to his store and get yourself a Let's Go Brandon t-shirt. Because Walkaway is going to come back. And you're going to see what the Walkaway team has been doing while Brandon's been away, when he's been being smeared by conservatives for taking a plea deal that any of them would have taken if they're being honest about it. What the Walkaway team has done is amazing. It's really good. They have done a really, 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 really good job. And they're going to do a relaunch. And when that relaunch happens, I hope that everyone is there wearing this Let's Go Brandon t-shirt and supports him in the way that he deserves to be supported for the amount of work that he has put in. He does not deserve what's happening to him. He is a good person. He is a true person, He is a real person. He is authentic. Who you see in the media is exactly who he is, like when he's not on TV. And there are so many fake people that are playing this little game, and it just burns me so much that the real ones get shafted every single time. Every single time. Matthew Hammond says many people are inherently lazy and take the first clip that they see as fact. It's not a race or a gay thing, it's a lazy thing. No. Again, I want one good reason. If it's not a gay thing, I want one good reason why Brandon Straka and Scott Pressler did not speak at the RNC. One good reason. All right, guys, if you want to get my book, you can head over to activilyunwoke.com. If you can't order it right now, you can't afford it, there are other things you can do. Look, Chris Rufo endorsed my book. That's pretty rad. Jody Shaw, amazing whistleblower, endorsed my book. Paul Rossi, amazing whistleblower, endorsed my book. Brandon says, seriously, the right needs to drop the gay subject. They really do. They really do. Eric Matheny, amazing conservative show host of Bob and Eric Save America, endorsed my book. Frank McCormick, amazing whistleblower, endorsed my book. Howard, who was just on my channel today, endorsed it. But if you can't afford it right now, I totally understand. It's not coming out till April anyway, so you've got plenty of time to pre-order. But what you can do, if you can't order it or you're not interested, but want to help me out in another way, I've got these 2 webinars that I'm hosting coming up, and there's going to be more. I'm building out a series to help people fight back against different woke things, like really fight back, not post shit on Twitter, actually do things. So I've got a couple of webinars that I've already gotten scheduled. The first is on February 1st. I'm going to be giving it, I'm going to do a very introductory course to what is critical race theory for completely normal people who don't speak James Lindsay. I love James Lindsay, don't get me wrong, but he speaks a very specific language. Normal people do not speak James Lindsay. He knows this. So what I'm working on doing is how can I explain in the simplest possible terms what critical race theory is and why people should be aware of it. That's what I'm going to be doing on February 1st at noon. You can register. These are completely free. I'm doing them because I think it's important. But how you can help me out is by not just signing up for the webinar. If it's something you're interested in, many of you are more advanced with critical race theory because you watch me and you watch my happy hours. So if you watch me regularly, this might be really introductory, elementary material for you. But I bet you guys have friends and family that need to learn this stuff. I bet you guys have friends and family who maybe have heard of critical race theory but don't really understand what it is. That's who this webinar is for. So please share it out. It's on activilyunwoke.com under the events page. So please share it out. Then on February 11th, I'm going to have Nicole Solis come on, and she's going to teach you guys how to do public records requests. Nicole Solis is the mom from Rhode Island that got sued by the teachers' unions for requesting information from her daughter's school. She's going to teach you how to do public records requests. If you want to know how to request information from your kid's school, she's going to tell you exactly how to do it. She's going to tell you how to write these requests. She's going to tell you what keywords to look for. She's going to help you out. Sam says, donate it to the Clarks and buying your book. Thank you, Sam. Carlin, I met you in Milwaukee at the Walkaway rally. Oh, I was not in a good state that day. So I apologize if I seemed a little out of it. You saved my dog. Oh, I saved your dog. Thank you. I appreciate that. So these are just the first 2 webinars we're going to do, guys. If you have other ideas, things you want, if there are topics that you want to see, what you want to do is to send me an email, come to this contact page. If you have other topics or other speakers you want me to bring on, come to the contact page, just write me an email. This comes directly to me. And I will try my very best to get on as many people as I can. I want to do an ongoing series. I want these to be helpful. I want these to be highly practical. I want these to be things that anyone can do. I want these to be really, like, things that you guys like, everyone can participate in this because everyone needs to be fighting back in real ways, not in fake ways. And then I also have this book club coming up. This is a local supporter exclusive, so members of my locals, if you're not a member of my locals, head over to kb.locals.com. You do need to be a supporter to get access to my book club, but we're gonna be reading that book that I the title I can't say on YouTube. But it's gonna be a great book. And Aaron Kinesvatter, who's an amazing whistleblower he used to be at the University of Vermont. He blew the whistle on how woke they are. He's gonna come join us for a chat. He's a psychologist and a counselor. So he can talk about how people think and how totalitarian ideas are imprinted on people's minds. So these are different ways you can support me. I'm doing a lot more stuff with Actively Unwoke. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to be building out this entire platform to help people fight back in real ways. I'm hoping to gamify things. I think that's going to be really done or awesome. Matthew, I think you sent in some super chats for nothing remotely controversial today, and obviously, guys, nothing remotely controversial didn't happen today because Joshua couldn't make it. But just know if you're the guy who sent in the super chats earlier, I did write them down, so we are going to do some. We're going to take care of those super chats for you. You don't have to worry about it. Ever since your video about the Trump rally went up, I've looked up to you. You're incredibly articulate, and we appreciate everything you do. Thank you, Matthew. I really appreciate that. You know, it makes me so happy to read stuff like this because a lot of times I really feel like I don't know what I'm doing and I'm not doing anything. That's the truth. People are going to clip this and be like, oh, Carlin's crying on the internet. It's been a really hard year. So I just really appreciate it for everyone that sent in words of wisdom like that. I really appreciate it. All right. I'm crying, so that means it's probably time to wrap up the stream. But I will see so I've got to hang on, let me pull this up. I'm just going to grift a little bit. I'm going to tell you guys what I'm doing and what I'm working on. Hang on, I'm just pulling something up so you can see. So, if you want to connect with me directly, the very best thing you can do is join my locals as a supporter. And you can come to our Zoom call tomorrow. We do Zoom call. We're going to do a Zoom call at noon tomorrow in my locals, so it's a private call that you can come and chat with me and other members of the community. If you want to do that, my locals, and I know I have many of my locals here today. You guys have really kept me sane for the last year, and I don't thank you enough. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate the virtual hug. Matthew, I appreciate you, Carlin. You are a nice lady that takes some time to understand. I wish everyone would take the time to watch you. Yeah. Well, sadly, we have a culture that's more interested in gotcha moments and taking things out of context and lying about people for the cheap own. But the people who watch me are the ones that, you know, I don't care to try to appeal to everyone. I want to appeal to the right people. And authenticity is very important to me. So if people don't like me, they don't have to watch me, and that's okay. If people want to take things out of context and lie, I can't do anything about that. But I appreciate those of you who stick around. I really do. All right, guys, I will see some of my locals members tomorrow for the community Zoom at noon. I'm looking forward to it. My husband's probably like, "Why has she been yelling on the internet for an hour and a half? We were supposed to spend time together tonight. That was the plan." Victor was all excited. He's like, "Oh, Joshua's not gonna be around today. Oh, maybe we could spend some time together." Nope, streaming with you guys. But I'll see you guys tomorrow for local Zoom. Of course, I will be live. I will be live at 5 again tomorrow on my main channel. We're gonna be talking New Hampshire secession tomorrow. See, this is what you guys drove me to. This is what conservatives drove me to. They drove me to want to leave the country. That's what conservatives drove. You drove me to want to secede from the country. Oh, Brandon, followed you since Glenn Beck. You're a real one. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that. All right, guys, I'm going to take off. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the super chat, Beauty in the Night. Please pray for Brandon. Please pray that his sentencing goes as well as it can go and he gets the most lenient possible sentence in the world because he didn't do anything wrong. And he had to take a plea deal to get his life back so he could work for all of you. All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.